Hi, everyone. This is Helena Hart. Welcome to the Master Your Magnetism podcast, where I bring on top experts to help you create the life and relationship you've always wanted. Today, I'm so excited to be talking with Rori Raye again. Welcome, Rori. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, Helena. It's wonderful to be with you.
We always have so much fun, and we actually decided to record this episode as a video for YouTube as well. So if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or anywhere else, and you'd like to see a video of this episode, I'll include that in the description or episode details. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Rori, she's a feminine energy dating and relationship coach whose programs and videos and newsletters have helped millions of women all around the world. And Rori, after the last podcast episode we recorded together on how to stop walking on eggshells around a man, especially a guy who's a little distant or confused about what he wants or maybe not ready to commit, we got so many questions about a man's silence, what it means and what to do about it, whether you're dating or in a relationship or even living together or married. I know it can be so frustrating and painful, and it's hard to know what to do when you're in that situation. So, what's the first thing you have to say about why a man might pull away or shut down, and what a man's silence means and what to do about it?
It's painful, right? I mean, I can't think of anything more painful than if a guy just completely sort of disappear. He's
Mhm.
right there in front of you, but he just sort of emotionally disappears. And really, we only have two options when this kind of thing happens. And it depends somewhat what your relationship is, if it's a first date or if you're married to him. But essentially, it's the same. The reaction you need to have. The first one is you have to not be cheerful. You have to not start a conversation. You have to not try to engage him. You have to not say, oh, something's bothering him. He needs to be cheered up, or he's, weak in communication right now. And so, I need to get it started. No, can't do that. You need to match his energy or get his energy that he is in a place where he is not communicating. He cannot reach out. He doesn't know what to say. He feels bad. He's got something going on. Yes, but your job is not to just start chatting. If you do that, you are going to make it harder on yourself to get further into the situation. So you just back off and you just go do something on your own. He will either eventually just start moving towards you and start texting you and calling you and showing up and moving into the kitchen where you are or knocking on your door if it's in the bedroom that you've closed. He will start to pursue you or he will not. And depending on how that goes, the second thing you need to do is have the conversation that's tough, which is, hey, I really noticed that it's not you're getting quiet. You never talk about what he's doing, ever. You're always going to get into trouble if you do that. But if you say, I've noticed that we've gone kind of silent and we're not talking so much, and it feels really weird to me, and I don't know what's going on. Is something going on with you that you'd like to talk about with me? Or is there something I should know? That's all you say. In other words, you're starting the conversation about the deeper problem, not trying to cover it over or be chipper or fix it. You're simply saying, hey, I've noticed this. What do you want to do with it? Okay, so I know there are going to be more questions now.
Oh,
So
yeah. I love everything you said. And I know the tendency to want to lean forward and close that gap, especially if maybe you're just dating, not living together, and you haven't heard from a guy. He drops off for a week or so. Even a couple days can feel like an eternity when we have strong feelings for a man, right? So, are you saying that the time to say something like that is when a man's energy is coming back towards you? You wouldn't advise a woman to like go after a guy and say that. You'd advise her to lean back, wait for him to come back towards you. Then, if she wants to have a conversation, that's the time to do it.
yes. Now,
Mhm.
I would never tell a woman if she wants to reach out to a man and say, hey, I haven't heard from you in a couple of weeks. Are we done? I would, I'm just, the phone's broke. What's going on? If she really wants to do that, I would not say no because there's a lesson in there. She wants to. I would never, give you rules. I am not a rule giving kind of a, whoever I am, coach. I want you to take your own path through things and see what it is that you want and need to do for yourself to learn what works for you. But in general, I would say if you're dating and a man is not calling you, not trying to get to see you, then that is what circular dating is for. You should be dating a bunch of other guys consistently, going in and out the doors like a revolving door. And if they're not connecting with you, it's never going to change. You can't marry a guy like that and all of a sudden he's all over you. It's either in his nature or the connection isn't right. And for you to want to fix it is like all of us. We're all type A here. I mean, you're watching Helena and I because you're a smart woman and you want to find out what's going on. But in love and romance, your use of energy, your precious energy in that way will not help you. You need to restrain your energy and use it instead liberally on yourself, for your own well being, to have fun and to use it in the dating life that circular dating requires, which is not easy in terms of continually talking to men, continually opening yourself up, always staying open and disarmed and unarmored. This is, speed track learning of who you are. We always talk about the inner work. This is the inner work done in the outer world.
I'm so glad you're talking about circular dating. We get a lot of questions on some of our other videos here on YouTube when you talk about circular dating. Women say, "Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to date other men. I just want this one guy." So, what would you have to say for a woman who has that reaction to the thought of keeping her energy open to other men when a guy has gone silent or is distant?
I completely relate.
Hmm.
I mean, I relate to that. Every woman I've ever talked to relates to that. You have a feeling for somebody, and if you're sleeping with him, you're getting all these hormones going, and he's in your mind, in your dreams, and you can't even imagine. So I just would ask you to slowly move into being more social. And now that we're coming back from COVID, it's possible to be social now. And it's certainly possible to be social with online dating and online classes and online this and that and Zoom calls and friends wanting to fix you up online. Much easier in a lot of ways than the in person stuff. That used to be the only option. I mean, when I was dating, we didn't even have online anything. We had the personal section in the penny saver. That was it. And only, weird people did that. We really had nothing. We joined groups, we let people fix us up, we suffered. We really didn't have any connections with other women even to know how to do it. But now we have all of this openness, and I believe it's more beneficial to us women than it is to men. Men really don't care about that. And the kind of man you want is not a ladies' man. He doesn't care about seeing a lot of women. You don't
Hmm.
want that guy.
So
You
true.
know, you just don't. If you want to settle down and have a traditional kind of life and family, which most women I talk to, even really high functioning business women, I mean, look at us. Selena and I are out there, right? But we don't want that with a man. We want a home life. We
Hmm.
want the whole thing. We want a home life with a man and a family, and we want an active social life. That's not the home life. We want social life. So think of it as a social life, meeting people, going out, seeing if you're an extrovert. And if you're not, by the way, I'm really into uh, personality typing now, so we could talk about that sometime. But you don't want to go against what you want.
Hmm.
And going against what you want is by zeroing in on a man who's not giving you what you want. That is what we all used to do. And let's just not do that anymore. Okay.
Hmm.
When I stopped doing that, everything changed for me. And my husband walked in, and, it took me a long time to get used to the fact that he was there because I put the label boring onto a man who wanted a home life with me. But the truth was, that's what I wanted. I knew that's what I wanted. So that's the thing that we have to work on here. So circular dating just means being social and allowing people to come towards you and allowing them to touch your inner self in that sense, to allow yourself to be disarmed, unarmored, open, learning how to be vulnerable in a social situation. And that will bring the man to you and allow him to connect with you. If he's being silent, that's your opportunity for the hard conversation of, wow, I feel like my natural self really wants to keep this conversation going.
Mhm.
I feel like I want to be cheerful. I feel like I want to engage you in conversation. And yet I notice that that's me trying and overdoing. And I don't want to do that anymore. I really rather just know what's going on and, how we might fix it. What do you think?
Mhm.
That's the way you do it.
I love it. Even if you're just dating a guy, you're not in an exclusive committed relationship yet, it's okay to say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
love it.
mean, if you have to reach out in order to communicate with him, don't.
Mhm.
Just be social and date other men. If you want to communicate with him because you need that sense of closure, and believe me, I have a big thing about closure is way
Yeah.
overrated. You don't need closure. But if you feel like you need it, that's you. You get that. So then you pick up the phone, you call him, or you text him, you say, "Hi, I've noticed we've gone silent. Are we done? Is there anything I should know?"
Mhm.
Do it.
Mhm.
And if you feel horrific when it comes back, that's when you get with your coach and see how your pattern is not working for you.
I love that so much, and it's not because of some effect it's gonna have on him, right? It's for you. It's about what you want, what
Yeah.
feels good to you, right?
Pretty much nothing you do is going to have an effect on him except
Mhm.
telling the truth.
Right. I love that.
Trying to charm him. Eh, he's already charmed by you. He already knows
Mhm.
what a charming woman you are and that you're smart and that you can hold up a conversation. You don't have to prove it to him. It just makes him feel worse. And we should probably talk about what's probably going on with him.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you have any thoughts about what a man's silence means. I know I get questions every day from women asking me to help interpret what a man means or when he's not talking to her, what it means. I know it's not helpful to overanalyze a man, but I'd actually love to hear any thoughts you have on that.
Well, it would be different if you're meeting across the table for the first time at Starbucks. I would hope you had already had a Zoom call with him.
Mhm.
And if he was quiet during that Zoom call, then let's talk about that. So he's quiet during the Zoom call, and you just keep smiling and looking at him, and nothing's happening, and it's blank. What are you going to do? You're going to say, "So tell me more about yourself," and then let him talk. I think one try at that, maybe two. So tell me what your dreams are. What's important to you, and have a few questions handy that aren't interview questions, but you'll feel like they open up things to you if somebody was just to ask you them. How do you like your work? How do you feel about it? Do you have anybody in your life that's really important? I I really need to know, do you have a strong connection with an ex I should know about? Is there anything about you that would make me cross you off my list? Those would be great questions. All right, so if you want to ask some of those, any answers, and then doesn't even ask you back about you, all right, well, there you got it. The guy doesn't know how to have a conversation. And I talk a lot about being on the autism spectrum. A
Hmm.
lot of people are, and a lot of men are on that spectrum. And they do not know how to roll the ball back to you in a conversation. They may be incredibly high functioning and you would never consider that they were on the spectrum, and they may be quite brilliant, and it actually might not harm your relationship because he's still got a nature that wants to be social with you. He just may not have the skill yet to know how to bounce it back. So you would say to him, I'm feeling like I'm doing all the questions right now. Is there anything you'd like to know about me?
I love that script. I actually get questions
Yeah.
all the time from women who say he doesn't ask me anything, and I don't think he's a bad guy. He seems like a nice person, right? So that was great. I love this really straightforward, not
Yeah.
walking on eggshells approach to this. Absolutely.
And
So
please
great.
don't do this anymore. The word narcissism is being thrown around everywhere now. It's just like He's narcissistic. So what's happening is if you start to get that in your brain, he's being narcissistic, just let that soften and don't let that stick on you because you put that label on him. Instead go, I've really noticed that I'm doing all the question answering. Is there anything I should know about, what that is? I, I I don't know how to handle that,
Hmm.
or whatever you're feeling. Or I'm starting to wonder, do we have the same? Are we on this? Are you interested in me? What's going on? It doesn't matter what you say. So what if it ends badly? I mean, you're on a Zoom call for heaven's sakes.
Yeah,
Shouldn't go for more than
absolutely.
10 minutes, 20 minutes anyway. And then if you get as far as meeting in Starbucks, you sit at the table, and all of a sudden he goes silent and he starts looking around the room and he picks up his phone. Well, lots of words are going to come into your head. Asshole. Worse than that, you know. I would be wanting to go, well, I can tell that this is over and thank you very much and pick up my post and get up and go.
Yeah.
Or you could say, I'm starting to think this is over. Is that true? Are we done? I noticed that you looked at your phone. I noticed that there's nothing happening right now. Should we just call it quits? Even if you feel like he's beautiful and you want to see him again, our urge as smart women is to fix it and go,
Mhm.
so tell me, do you have a dog? Tell me, what's your favorite sport? Don't say the truth, which is I'm kind of feeling like we're kind of dead in the water right here. Feels kind of
Mhm.
awkward. What do you think? And always ask him, what he thinks. What do you think? You say, this is what I feel. I feel kind of weird. What do you think? And if he says, I have an early day tomorrow, or I have so much work, okay, we're done, get the heck out of there.
Yeah.
I think it would be shocking after a Zoom call if it was that ridiculous.
Yeah.
But even small versions, feel strange. So you want to just
Absolutely.
start talking about that. So that's a date. So if you're with the guy and he's, turn on the TV and watching sports and not talking to you, that's why he's watching sports. So get out of the room and do it, or sit down and watch the sports with him. I've done both of those.
Hmm.
I know more about tennis than any woman who is not into tennis herself needs to know. But, why not? And
Hmm.
then I certainly expect him to look over my shoulder while I'm watching the baking competition or something like that. So that's reasonable, but leave the room.
Hmm.
If he's locked in his office, if you're stuck at home and he's lost his office working and he never comes out to say hello to you, you got to say, hey, he's got to come out to eat sometime,
Hmm.
or he's going to leave and just say bye, leave. Well, then we could talk about creating a sanctuary relationship and making sure that you do launching and landings and say hello and goodbye to each other, and that you have a communication ethic between you, which is like a discussion in the kitchen. You say to them, hey, I just noticed that we're not connecting at all today. I'm feeling kind of weird. Is there something I should know? Say, no, I'm just very busy. And he should walk in then and hug you, kiss you. If he doesn't, you're going to feel weird. You're going to have a tough conversation. So, I can't put all the words into every situation I know that I've experienced and you have experienced.
Hmm.
But essentially, you just have to get to the truth of what you're feeling and not let it stew. You don't want to just let it stew. You want it to inform your words.
It's so important. That's what I love so much about your work. It's not about just stuffing it down and trying to be nice or overly understanding or reasonable. I think a lot of women who are drawn to this work are just way too understanding. They give a guy way too much benefit of the doubt and then they just make excuses for him, especially if they're just dating and he drops off for a few days or weeks. It can just be so easy to buy into his excuses when we have strong feelings for him. So I really love this super straightforward approach. And by the way, I forgot to mention, I know you have a couple openings in your membership group that we'll talk about at the end. So I'll include links to that in the description or episode details as well. But is there anything else you want to say? I mean, I know we just covered so many things here. We could probably talk forever about this. So, what a man's
Yeah.
silence means and what to do about it. So I think just a recap or overview would be great of just how to handle
Okay.
a situation like this.
Well, I heard you say about meaning. I wasn't sure that I actually answered that. It could mean all kinds of things. It could mean he's got something on his mind and it's in his way. So you'd want to ask that. Is there something I should know? Eh,
Mm-hmm.
find out if that's the case. Find out he may be backing away from you. Yes, he might have met somebody else. It could be a horrible thing, and you might have some pain in it. You need to say, "Hi, I've really noticed that I'm not hearing from you a lot. We're not seeing each other a lot. I know you're busy at your work. Is there something else I should know?" And if you're dating and you're not seeing each other like 3, 4 times a week, you need to be circular dating anyway. So you shouldn't find yourself in that situation. There should be somebody that you see the next day. You should be the one saying, "I'm not free on Friday night," right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you're finding yourself in that because you just found me, you just found Helena, then you want to ask. You want to say, "I've really noticed that, we're only seeing each other, some Fridays, some Saturdays. I'm assuming we're all dating other people. How's this going for you?" You can say almost anything. And if you're a very introverted person, a very quiet, sensitive person, yes, speaking out loud might be hard for you. So that you can say, "I've noticed that we're not talking a lot lately, and I really enjoy being with you. I really look forward to meeting you. And does this mean anything? Is there anything I should know?" You can say it more quietly, but you're also expressing your own self. And this might take practice. But you're a sensitive woman, you still want to express the truth. You don't want to fake it. And if all you can do is back away, do that. Back away. You don't want a guy who doesn't come and find you. It's a horrible
So
thing to
true.
live with a guy who's not looking for you, who doesn't want to spend time with you and make you happy. So,
Absolutely.
what it means, you might have to ask. Please do not assume anything. Assumptions are our old brain working with us. They're the old stuff. We want to be the new stuff, which is, "I'm sensing this, I'm feeling this. How would you like to tell me what's going on?"
Mm-hmm.
It puts you in a position of power.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's
Right?
becoming more of who you are, not shrinking yourself down and trying to fit
Yes.
yourself into this box of, what is he
Yes.
going to find attractive? How do I get him to come back towards me? I think this is great. And I think if a guy just lets you go or, doesn't actually snap to and start to meet your needs and want to
Yes.
make you happy, he can't possibly be the right guy for you, right?
No,
Right.
exactly.
So important. So this really weeds out the men who are never going to be that good partner and inspires the right man to really step up if he's the right guy for you, right?
Right. You know what we should
Love
talk
it.
about next time? Let's talk about how to do all of these things we talk about if you're married to a guy or
Mhm.
living with him. So you've
Mhm.
already made this major investment and you can't just blow him off. We should talk
That would
about
be
that.
great. I would absolutely love that. I get questions like that all the time from women in my community. So make sure you're following my podcast, Master Your Magnetism. Rory and I go live over there pretty often. Every few months, we do a live broadcast. You can call in, talk to us personally, type your questions into the chat. It's so much fun. It's totally free. I'll include a link to how you can join those as well. And let's talk about your Siren group. I don't know much about this myself, but I know it's an amazing opportunity for women who want to get specific coaching around their unique situation, because I know every situation is different, right?
And well, it's absolutely true. I,
Mm-hmm.
I would say I think it's awesome and there's nothing like it. And it's so inexpensive. It's just, a really great way to get into all my stuff and to get, personal work with incredible coaches. So you're going to get in this membership, it's a monthly membership, and you can quit whenever you want. You're going to get incredible materials dropped to you practically every day, every other day, stuff that, are books and really stuff, interviews with Helena and I, all kinds of things that are not out there available to anyone else. And you're going to get all of that continually. And then you get to be on Siren Island, which is a private group on Facebook with incredible coaches coaching you live. And I go there every Monday at 11:30 a.m. Central. And I go live and answer questions with some of
Wow.
my top coaches, Naomi and Natalina Love, Naomi Thompson. I mean, extraordinary coaches. And what you do is it's a totally safe group. Nobody is allowed to coach you or give you advice except the coach. And they actually have to write coach so that you know it's them. And you basically post, you can read for a long time and get some incredible stuff. These coaches are just doing amazing work. They're working, my method, they're working on feminine energy, getting you into your feminine energy, not giving you rules or stuff like that. But they can help you with texting right now in a immediate situation. If something just happened with a guy last night, you just get on there, and we have coaches there in the middle of the night for us in the States, and they'll be there and they'll hold your hand and they'll help you know what to say to him. And there's nothing like it really anywhere. You get this coaching situation plus all the materials. So, and
Wow.
me, I'd love to know you there.
That's amazing that you're going live in there every week answering questions. And I
Fun.
love that people can just get those questions answered quickly because I know you're big on every situation's unique, right? It's hard to give one size fits all advice for tens
Yeah.
of thousands of people, right? So I love that you're offering that so inexpensive. So I'll include a link to that in the description or episode details as well. Please go check that out. And this was so much fun. Rory, any last words of wisdom before we close out today?
This is always fun.
Mhm.
I think, well, just speaking to everyone who is here, you're wise. You actually know everything that I know. I have experience that you haven't had yet, but you know instinctively where you want to go and what you want. And all you need to do is tune into that want and tune into that feeling and get used to the practice of then speaking that out loud, letting it come out, even if you're very introverted, letting it be a force. And that is what will bring everything to you. Forget about the law of attraction. For me, anyway, I just don't. I think it's a very masculine concept. I think it came
Interesting.
from a man's brain. Nah, I believe you want to get in touch with what you want and then let that kind of shine. And that will be a beacon for attraction, right? You'll attract what you want because everybody can see what it is you want.
Love it. Oh my gosh. I could just talk forever with you about that. This was so much fun. We were going to try and keep this episode short for everybody, but I know we could just probably talk for hours about this. So let's definitely do this again soon, Rory. Thank you so much. And thanks for watching or listening, everyone. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. And we will see you next time. Rory, thank you so much again. This was great.
Bye bye. It was wonderful.